We're in 1938. The Nazis are building one of the largest concentration camps in central Germany on the Ettersberg Hill near Weimar. An SS man named Karl Koch is appointed commandant. He moves in with his wife and children, not into a barracks or anything modest. No, they settle into a comfortable villa close to the camp. And here's what makes this so chilling. Unlike many SS officers' wives who tried to keep a polite distance from the camps, Ilse Koch is fascinated by what happens inside. She visits, she walks around, and very quickly survivors begin describing the same thing again and again. A woman who didn't just know what was happening, she enjoyed power inside that world. One of the most repeated stories is this. She would stroll near the fences in revealing outfits, deliberately provoking the gaze of starving prisoners, and if someone looked at her the wrong way, if she decided that a glance was disrespect, she would memorize the prisoner number and report it to her husband, and that prisoner would pay for it. Beatings, torture, sometimes worse. Then come the rumors that would explode after the war, rumors so grotesque they almost feel unreal, that she was a nymphomaniac, that she collected tattooed human skin, that she had an abat-jour, an actual lampshade made from human skin, even shrunken heads. Whether all of that could be proven or not, one thing is certain. Her name became a symbol, a face that people attached to the horror of the camps. Now jump forward to April 11, 1947, Dachau in occupied Germany. A former SS building has been turned into a war crimes tribunal. 2 years after Nazi Germany's collapse, the Allies are still hunting down and prosecuting those responsible for the machinery of terror. And on that day, the court is focused on Buchenwald, one of the worst camps in the Nazi system. Around 280,000 people were imprisoned there. More than 56,000 died, starved, exhausted, beaten, executed, or killed through brutal medical experiments. 31 Nazi officials are sitting as defendants, and among them, something rare for these trials, a woman. Ilse Koch stands out instantly, red hair, pale skin, a sharp, cold gaze. She takes her seat and listens as the charges are read. She is accused not only of being aware of the atrocities in the camp, but of participating in them, encouraging violence, denouncing prisoners, being present for punishments and executions. And the more sensational accusations are there too. The tattooed skins, the shrunken heads, the infamous lampshade. She faces the possibility of the death penalty, and she denies everything. She claims she never had any official role in the camp, that she wasn't in charge of anything. But the problem is, she was there from the beginning. So we go back. July 15, 1937, 10 years earlier. Ettersberg, forest, deep inside the Third Reich. SS trucks arrive at the top of the hill. 149 prisoners step out, transferred from Sachsenhausen. Political opponents, Jehovah's Witnesses, men labeled criminals, homosexuals. The Nazis bring them here to build Buchenwald with their own hands. At that point, it's not a camp yet, just forest, mud, timber, and the beginning of a system designed to grind human beings down. Hitler has consolidated power. Germany is being transformed into a totalitarian state built around Nazi ideology. The Gestapo hunts opposition, the SS expands, and concentration camps become tools of terror, places where the regime can imprison, break, and eliminate those it considers undesirable. Buchenwald rises fast, more than 40 hectares, barbed wire, an electrified fence, 23 guard towers, armed SS watching prisoners day and night. Over the gate, Jedem das Seine, to each his due. A slogan dripping with the SS worldview. They decide who deserves to live and who deserves to suffer. Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS and the concentration camp system, appoints one of his men to run the camp, Karl Otto Koch. He's not new to this. He's already served in other camps, Sachsenberg, Dachau, Berlin, Sachsenhausen. He knows the system, and he knows how to be ruthless inside it. In December 1937, Karl Koch arrives at Buchenwald with his wife, Ilse.
She's 31, young, stylish, ambitious. She worked as a stenotypist, then as a secretary for the Nazi Party in 1932. She meets Karl Koch, an SS man on the rise. In 1937, she becomes Ilse Koch. They move into what's known as the Villa Koch, a stone and wood home near the camp, built by prisoners. And they don't live like people at war. They live like people who believe the world belongs to them. Fencing, photography, dog shows, leisure, comfort, luxury. Where does the money come from? A theft system. Prisoners' belongings, money sent by families, anything valuable that passes through the camp can be redirected. The villa is supposed to cost 40,000 Reichsmark. It ends up costing $500,000. They buy luxury furniture, furs, even a convertible BMW, paid for, in effect, by the people being imprisoned and worked to death just down the road.
Ilse gives birth to 3 children at Buchenwald: Artwin, Gisela, and Gudrun. And this is one of the most disturbing contrasts in the entire story. In her photo album, the Koch family looks like a perfect, cheerful household. Kids smiling, outings, a mother posing like any other. And on Sundays, Karl Koch sometimes takes the children on walks, inside the camp. While prisoners sleep packed into barracks, starving, while their striped uniforms protect them from nothing, neither cold nor mud nor disease, while men are beaten, tortured, sometimes locked behind barbed wire for days in freezing weather. Ilse Koch is not unaware. According to many testimonies, she enters the camp regularly. Prisoners even give her a nickname, the Commandant's wife, the Commandance. She watches punishments on the central square. She denounces prisoners herself. And yes, multiple reports describe her deliberately provoking prisoners, then punishing them for reacting. In a report, she is described as one of the most hated people in the camp. She tries to provoke sexual attention with her clothes or by sunbathing, then reports any prisoner who looks at her, and he receives lashes, 25 blows. In June 1938, more than 1,000 Jews arrived at Buchenwald. They're housed in stables or kitchens, no beds, no benches, no tables. That same month, Karl Koch orders a zoo built at the edge of the camp, right near the electrified fence. Deer, and even 4 brown bears. Entertainment for SS guards and their families. Meanwhile, inside the camp, people are being tortured and killed. And the absurdity becomes obscene. Karl Koch complains about visitors mistreating the zoo animals. He writes that visitors must behave with reason and love toward the animals and avoid anything that could harm them. You can't make that up. By 1938 and 1939, thousands more prisoners pour into Buchenwald. Disease spreads, typhus, tuberculosis, more than 2,000 die. Inside the camp hospital, doctors carry out horrific experiments. Tattooed skin is removed from bodies, tanned, turned into objects. These human remains circulate like trophies. Even the SS medical leadership in the area is reportedly shocked enough to intervene and order an end to some of these practices. In May 1940, Karl Koch builds more structures to satisfy Ilse, a riding hall and stables. Prisoners die building them, but Ilse can ride horses, because that, apparently, matters in a world where human life doesn't. The camp grows even more. A cinema, a casino, a brothel. Then, in 1941, Karl Koch's rule takes a strange turn. He contracts syphilis. Ashamed, he refuses treatment in an SS hospital and secretly gets 2 prisoner doctors to treat him. And when they're done, he has them executed so no one will find out. But those same prisoners had also treated a high-ranking SS officer, Josef of Waldeck-Pyrmont, Karl Koch's superior. When that superior learns the prisoners were executed, he orders an investigation. Even within the SS, an organization built on cruelty, Karl Koch's actions raise alarms. He's arrested. Himmler himself intervenes to get him released. To bury the scandal, Karl Koch is transferred to another camp. Ilse stays behind in the villa with the children. And the camp becomes even more hellish. Prisoners are used as test subjects for vaccines. Some are deliberately poisoned. Chemicals, phosphorus, and other substances are applied to open wounds to observe reactions.
A prisoner who worked as a secretary for the camp's chief doctor later described a plan to exterminate tuberculosis patients, prisoners selected and killed by injection, often without proper examination, simply because they looked sick. By then, Buchenwald holds close to 40,000 prisoners. Rumors about Ilse's behavior spread even among the Nazis: alcoholism, affairs, neglect. Whether those rumors were true or exaggerated, the larger truth remained: the camp was a machine of brutality, and she lived comfortably beside it. In December 1944, something unexpected happens. Karl Koch is sentenced to death by an SS court. He's found guilty of corruption, violating military law, murdering prisoners, and war crimes. 4 months later, he's executed, and his body is cremated inside Buchenwald, the very camp he once commanded. Ilse manages to slip away at first, citing lack of proof for the most extreme accusations. She flees and hides in Ludwigsburg in southwestern Germany. Then comes April 11, 1945. American tanks arrive at Buchenwald. The officers are horrified by what they find: skeletal prisoners, piles of bodies, torture instruments, evidence of systematic cruelty. The next day, General Dwight Eisenhower visits Ohrdruf, a subcamp of Buchenwald. He later says he was overwhelmed by what he saw, by the undeniable proof of Nazi barbarity and the fact that it was carried out without even a shadow of remorse. General Patton orders civilians from nearby Weimar to visit the camp, so they can't say they didn't know. More than 1,000 civilians walked through. Some cried, some shook, some fainted. And then there's a table, objects displayed as proof: 13 tattooed skins removed from corpses, human organs preserved in jars, 2 shrunken heads, and a mysterious lampshade. In the media coverage that follows, one name keeps surfacing: Ilse Koch. Witnesses describe her cruelty. Newspapers turn her into a symbol. She becomes the witch, the bitch of Buchenwald, the female face of Nazi depravity. Reports claim she ordered prisoners killed to obtain tattooed skin. Whether or not those specific claims could be proven in court, the scandal becomes global. She is arrested by the Americans and held at Dachau, now used as an internment facility, waiting for trial. On April 11, 1947, the Buchenwald trial opens. The press emphasizes one detail over and over: 30 men and 1 woman, and that woman is Ilse Koch. The goal of these trials isn't only punishment, it's also clarity. Germany had millions of Nazi Party members. Authorities couldn't prosecute everyone, so they focused on identifying and condemning major perpetrators, putting names and faces to the crimes.
On August 12, 1947, the verdict falls. Ilse Koch is sentenced to life in prison for violating the laws and customs of war. The most sensational claims, possession or manufacture of objects from human skin, are dropped for lack of proof. But the press doesn't let go of the sensational story. The lampshade becomes her brand, her legend, whether proven or not. In reality, the link between Ilse Koch and those objects cannot be formally established. Tattooed skin, where it existed, was connected to research intended for a university, warped by Nazi ideology, trying to prove supposed connections between tattoos and criminality. And there were contradictions in testimonies. A year after the trial, her sentence is reduced from life to 4 years. An American Commission report suggests the military judges believe they had been swept up by mass propaganda and suggestion. The American military governor, General Lucius D. Clay, makes a stunning claim. The infamous lampshade was not human skin at all, but goat skin. And worse, by sheer bad luck, the object had disappeared, so no definitive expert analysis could be done. But the reaction is explosive, especially in the United States. Public outrage forces a new decision. On October 17, 1949, the Americans hand Ilse Koch over to German justice so she can be tried again. This time, the charges are framed differently. Not war crimes, but incitement to murder, attempted murder, and incitement to assault. On January 15, 1951, she is found guilty.
She is sentenced to life imprisonment again, and she becomes the only woman in Germany condemned to life for Nazi-era crimes. Then, on September 1st, 1967, 16 years later, Ilse Koch is found hanged in her cell. She is 60 years old. In a final letter to her son, she writes that she sees no other way out, that death is her release. And even today, the image remains, the depraved woman hunting tattooed skins, a monster turned into a headline. Popular books, films, even pornographic stories twisted and amplified the tale for shock value, sometimes even for denialist agendas. Here's the key point. The myth doesn't erase the responsibility. It is true that the most lurid claim, owning a human skin lampshade, was never proven, but it doesn't change the fact that Ilse Koch was present, complicit, and described by survivors as cruel, enthusiastic, and deeply involved in the camp's violent culture. And she never showed remorse, not emotion, not compassion. And this leads to something important. Concentration camps are surrounded by myths. One of the most persistent is the story of soap made from human fat. People have claimed the Nazis manufactured soap industrially from the bodies of murdered Jews. That has never been proven. There may have been limited experimentation in an anatomical institute in Germany where someone produced a small number of bars, but there was no large-scale industrial soap production in the camps. And this rumor, in fact, echoes propaganda already seen in World War I, when British soldiers accused Germans of processing battlefield corpses to make soap. So yes, some stories grow until they become legends, but the reality is already more than enough. Thank you for watching, and feel free to support this channel via subscribe and like. See you until next one.